Daniel Brooks walked through his front door without warning. Nobody expected him. The house sat quiet like it had been for 20 months. Then he heard something, sounds floating from somewhere deep inside. His heart started pounding hard. He couldn't figure out what it was. He moved toward it, following the noise, his hands shaking. It came from the kitchen. He pushed the door open, and what he saw made everything stop. Daniel Brooks was a billionaire. Chicago skyscrapers built from nothing. He turned old factories into glass towers worth hundreds of millions. Everything he touched made money, but money couldn't bring back what he'd lost. His wife, Sarah, died in a crash, Lake Shore Drive. A truck driver fell asleep at the wheel. She was gone before the ambulance arrived. Daniel was in Tokyo, closing a $300 million deal when they called him. At her funeral, something died inside his 3 daughters. Lily, Grace, and Sophie, 4 years old. Identical triplets. Brown curls, blue eyes like the summer sky. They stopped talking, all 3, at the same time. Lily used to sing songs she made up. Grace asked questions about everything. Sophie told stories to her stuffed animals. Now nothing, silence, 20 months of complete silence. No words, no giggles, no crying out loud. Just 3 little girls holding each other's hands, staring at walls like they'd gone somewhere else. Daniel spent millions trying to fix it. Doctors from the best children's hospitals, specialists from Boston, therapy after therapy. He took them to Disney World, to the beach in California, to a ranch in Texas. He bought them kittens, built them a castle in the backyard. Nothing worked. The girls stayed locked inside themselves, silent together, like they'd made a promise with sadness. So Daniel did what scared men do. He ran, he buried himself in work. 18-hour days, business trips every week. London, Paris, Dubai, Tokyo, because sitting in that house felt like drowning. His house outside Chicago had 15 bedrooms, a pool that looked endless, a movie theater, a basketball court, but it was the loneliest place in the world. One night, Carol, the head housekeeper who'd worked for the family for 15 years, came to him. "Mr. Brooks, I can't do this by myself anymore. The house is too big. The girls need more help than I can give them. Can I hire someone?" Daniel barely looked up from his laptop. "Hire whoever you need, Carol." 4 days later, Ruby Martinez walked through the door, 28 years old, from a small town in New Jersey. Studying child development at night while taking care of her younger brother. Her mother had died 3 years back. She understood grief. She knew what it felt like to keep going when your heart was shattered into pieces. Daniel saw Ruby once in the hallway. She was carrying towels. She smiled. He didn't even notice, but his daughters noticed. Ruby didn't try to fix them. She didn't push them to talk or laugh. She just showed up every single day, washing dishes, singing soft songs while she worked, organizing their toys, being there, and slowly the girls started coming closer. In the first week, Lily watched from the doorway while Ruby folded their clothes, then Grace, then Sophie. In the second week, Ruby hummed quietly while putting books on shelves. Sophie crept closer, just listening. In the third week, Lily left a drawing on the clean towels, a purple flower. Ruby picked it up like it was made of gold. She smiled and put it on the fridge. "This is so pretty, sweetheart," she whispered, and Lily's eyes changed, just a tiny bit. Week after week, something was happening, something quiet, something beautiful, something Daniel never saw because he was never home. The girls started whispering to Ruby, then talking in full sentences, then laughing while she made their beds. By 7 weeks, they were singing again. Ruby didn't tell anyone. She just loved them gently, patiently, like watering flowers and trusting God to make them grow. Daniel had no idea his daughters were coming back to life. He was in San Francisco closing a huge deal, tired, stressed. He wasn't supposed to come home for 4 more days. But something inside him said go home. He didn't call anyone. He just bought a plane ticket and left. When he walked through the front door, the house was quiet. Like always, he expected nothing different. But then he heard something, sounds. His chest got tight. He stood frozen in the entry, listening. It couldn't be. The house had been silent for 20 months, but the sounds were real. Laughter. Children's laughter. Daniel's hands started shaking. His heart beat so fast. He didn't understand. He moved toward the sound, down the hallway, faster. His breath got stuck in his throat. It came from the kitchen. He reached the door. His hand shook as he pushed it open. and what he saw inside stopped his whole world. But before we go on, hit that subscribe button, click like, and tell me where you're watching from. Because this story will show you that miracles can happen when you least expect them, and that love can bring back what we thought was gone forever. Now, let me tell you what Daniel saw in that kitchen. Sunlight came through the kitchen windows, bright and warm, the kind of light that makes everything feel happy. Sophie was sitting on Ruby's shoulders, her little hands in the woman's hair, giggling so hard. Lily and Grace sat with no shoes on the counter by the sink, legs swinging, faces glowing. They were singing, actually singing, "You Are My Sunshine." Their voices filled the room like music Daniel had forgotten existed. Ruby was folding small bright dresses, humming with them, smiling like this was the most natural thing in the world. The girls were wearing matching pink outfits, their hair was brushed, their cheeks were red with happiness, they looked alive. Daniel stood frozen in the doorway. His bag had fallen from his hand somewhere behind him. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. His daughters, talking, laughing, singing. For 3 seconds something broke open inside him. Relief so strong it felt like his chest might break. Gratitude, joy, a feeling he hadn't felt since Sarah died. Like maybe, just maybe, God hadn't forgotten them. Then Sophie shouted louder, "Miss Ruby, sing louder," and something changed. Daniel didn't understand it, he couldn't name it, but it came up fast and hot and ugly. Jealousy, shame, anger. This woman, this stranger, had done what he couldn't. She'd brought his daughters back from the dead. While he was closing deals and flying around the world, she was here, loving them, healing them, being the parent he should have been, and he hated her for it. What the hell is going on here? His voice exploded across the kitchen like thunder. The singing stopped. Right away, Sophie's face fell. Ruby stumbled, her hands shaking as she carefully lifted Sophie off her shoulders and set her down. Lily and Grace froze on the counter. Their legs stopped swinging. "Mr. Brooks," Ruby's voice was quiet, steady, but Daniel could see her shaking. "This is completely wrong." Daniel's voice cracked. "You were hired to clean, not to play dress up and turn my kitchen into some kind of circus." Ruby looked down. "I was just spending time with them, sir. They were, I don't want to hear it." Daniel's face was red, his fists tight at his sides, putting my daughters on counters. Carrying them around like that. What if one of them fell? What if something happened? "Nothing happened, sir. I was being careful. You're fired." The word came out cold. "Final, pack your things, leave now." Ruby stood there for a moment, her hands holding the edge of the counter. Her eyes were wet, but she didn't argue, she didn't beg, she just nodded. "Yes, sir." She walked past Daniel with her head up, shoulders straight, tears falling quietly down her cheeks. The girls didn't make a sound. They climbed down from the counter slowly, carefully, holding each other's hands. Their faces were empty, like someone had reached inside and turned off a light. They looked at their father, really looked at him, and Daniel saw it, fear. They were scared of him. Lily's lip shook, but no sound came out. Grace held her sister's hands tighter. Sophie's eyes filled with tears that fell down her face without sound. Then they turned and walked out of the kitchen together, hand in hand, their bare feet quiet against the floor. The room fell silent. Daniel stood there alone. The bright dresses Ruby had been folding were still on the counter. The sunlight that had felt so warm moments ago now felt harsh, mean. His legs felt weak. He grabbed the edge of the counter to stay standing. "What did I just do?" His voice was barely a whisper. The house was silent again, the way it had been for 20 months. Cold, dead, empty. Daniel sank into a chair, his head falling into his hands, and for the first time since Sarah's funeral, he felt the full weight of what he'd become. Not a father, a destroyer. That night, Daniel sat alone in his office. The room was dark except for the lamp on his desk. A glass of whiskey sat untouched in his hand. He stared at the photo on the shelf, Sarah laughing. Holding the girls when they were Barbies, all 3 of them wrapped in her arms, her smile so bright it hurt to look at. "What have I done, Sarah?" His voice cracked. "Why did I do that?" The silence pushed in from every corner of the house, heavy, choking. There was a soft knock at the door. "Mr. Brooks." Carol's voice, gentle but firm. "May I come in?" Yes, she came in slowly, closing the door behind her. She didn't bring tea this time, didn't sit down, just stood there, arms crossed, looking at him the way a mother looks at a child who's done something really wrong. "They were talking, Mr. Brooks." Daniel looked up. "What, your daughters?" "They were talking to Ruby." His chest got tight. "I know that, Carol. I saw them today." "No," Carol shook her head. "You don't understand. It wasn't just today. They've been talking for 7 weeks. The glass slipped from Daniel's hand. It didn't break, just tipped over on the desk, whiskey spilling across the wood. He didn't move to clean it. 7 weeks. Yes, sir, full sentences, stories, songs. Ruby brought them back, little by little, every single day. Daniel's hands started shaking. 7 weeks. How? Why didn't anyone tell me? Carol's voice was soft, but it cut deep. You were never here to tell, Mr. Brooks. He covered his face with his hands. Oh God, Carol, I destroyed it. I destroyed everything in 10 seconds. Yes, sir, you did. The words hung in the air between them. No comfort, just truth. Daniel's voice came out broken. What kind of father am I? My daughters were healing, actually healing, and I had no idea. I've been so busy running from this house that I didn't even see they were coming back to life. Carol stepped closer. Her voice was quieter now. Mr. Brooks, do you understand what you did today? Those girls trusted Ruby. They opened up to her. And you showed them that, when you're scared or confused, you hurt the people they love. Daniel looked up, his eyes red. I wasn't thinking. I saw them so happy with her and I felt like I didn't matter anymore, like I'd been replaced, so you destroyed it. Yes, his voice barely a whisper, I destroyed it. Carol uncrossed her arms. What are you going to do now? I need to say sorry to Ruby. To the girls, I need to fix this. Saying sorry is a start, but those girls don't need your words, Mr. Brooks. They need you, actually you. Not the man who works 100 hours a week and throws money at problems. They need their father. Daniel nodded slowly. I'll talk to Ruby first thing in the morning. I'll ask her to come back. I'll make this right. Carol studied him for a long moment. Then she turned toward the door. I hope so, sir, for their sake. She left him sitting there in the dark. Daniel stared at Sarah's photo again. The girls' faces, so small, so innocent. He'd failed them, failed Sarah, failed himself. But maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late to try again. The next morning, Daniel had Ruby called to his office. She came in quietly, her head down, hands together in front of her. She wore the same uniform, the same strength, but something in her eyes had changed. Sit down, Ruby. She sat on the edge of the chair, back straight, waiting. Daniel cleared his throat. Ruby, I want to say sorry. What I said yesterday, how I spoke to you, was completely wrong. I didn't know the girls had started talking again. Carol told me last night. I was wrong. Ruby said nothing. You weren't doing anything wrong. You were caring for them in a way his voice stopped. In a way I couldn't. And I'm truly sorry. She looked up then. Her eyes were calm. Clear. May I speak freely, Mr. Brooks? Of course. You didn't just fire me yesterday. You embarrassed me. In front of 3 little girls who trusted me. You showed them that people like me don't matter. That when you're confused or scared, you hurt people. Daniel winced. Ruby stood. I know my place, sir. I'm the housekeeper. I clean. I fold clothes. But those girls, they became my heart. And you broke that in front of them. Ruby, please, I'm not coming back, Mr. Brooks. Not because you fired me, because I can't stay in a place where love gets punished. She walked to the door. Daniel stood. Please, my daughters need you. Ruby turned, her hand on the door handle. Your daughters need their father, Mr. Brooks. Maybe start there. And then she was gone. Carol found Daniel still sitting at his desk an hour later. She's not coming back, is she? He said without looking up. No, sir, she's not. Daniel hit his fist on the desk. I know, Carol, I know I ruined everything. Carol crossed her arms. Then go after her. How? The same way you chase your business deals, with everything you have and real honesty. Daniel looked at her. Really looked at her. Then he stood. Where does she live? Carol waited. Mr. Brooks, please, Carol, I need to try. She sighed. New Jersey. I'll get you the address. Daniel drove to New Jersey that afternoon. The address took him to a small apartment building on a quiet street. Cracked sidewalk, old paint, a world away from his big house in Chicago. He climbed the stairs to the 2nd floor and knocked. A teenage boy opened the door, tall, careful eyes. He looked Daniel up and down, the fancy suit, the expensive shoes, and his face got hard. Yeah, I'm looking for Ruby Martinez. Does she live here? The boy's face got harder. Who's asking? My name is Daniel Brooks. I was her boss. I need to speak with her. You're the guy who fired her. Daniel's throat got tight. Yes, I made a mistake. I need to say sorry. The boy stepped forward, blocking the door. You made her cry, man. You embarrassed her in front of little kids. And now you show up here thinking you can just fix it. I know I hurt her. That's why I'm here. Please, 5 minutes. She doesn't want to see you. Please. The door closed. Daniel stood there staring at the old paint, his hands tight into fists, then let go. He'd never been turned away like this. Never had a door shut in his face. In his world, money opened everything. Here, it meant nothing. He tried again the next day. Carol had given him another address. Ruby's aunt's place in a different part of New Jersey, another small building, another neighborhood where his suit made him stick out like he didn't belong. He knocked. A woman in her 50s opened the door, a cat in her arms. She looked tired. Can I help you? I'm looking for Ruby Martinez. I was told she might be staying here. The woman's face changed. Knowing, then something colder. You're the rich guy who yelled at her. Daniel looked down. Yes, I need to talk to her to say sorry. She doesn't want to talk to you. Please, just let me explain. Ruby, the woman called over her shoulder. There's someone here for you. Footsteps. Then Ruby appeared in the door behind her aunt. When she saw Daniel, her face went still. What do you want, Mr. Brooks? To talk, please. There's nothing to talk about. Ruby, I know what I did was wrong. I know I hurt you, but my daughters, they haven't spoken since you left. They're back in that silence. I destroyed the only good thing that's happened to them since their mother died. Ruby's jaw got tight. That's not my problem. I know it's not. But I'm not here as your boss. I'm here as a father who failed his children, and I'm begging for help. Ruby looked away, her eyes wet. Daniel reached into his jacket and pulled out a small box. His hands shook as he held it out. The girls made this. Carol found it hidden in their playroom. Ruby waited, then she took it. She opened it slowly. Inside were 3 drawings, each one labeled in shaky writing. Miss Ruby, a purple flower, a rainbow, a heart with stick figures holding hands, and under them a folded piece of paper. Ruby unfolded it. The words were written in crayon, big and uneven. Please come back, we love you. Ruby's hand went to her mouth. Tears fell down her cheeks. They drew these for you, Daniel said quietly, every night before bed. Carol found them under Lily's pillow. Ruby held the box to her chest, her shoulders shaking. Daniel's voice broke. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to save them, because I can't. Ruby stood there holding the box, tears streaming down her face. She didn't wipe them away, just stood there staring at the drawings like they were breaking her heart all over again. Daniel waited. He didn't push, didn't speak. For the first time in years, he just waited. Finally, Ruby looked up. Her voice came out thick with feeling. Mr. Brooks, Daniel, what you did hurt, not just me, them. I know you made them feel like loving me was wrong, like being happy was something to be ashamed of. Daniel's throat got tight. I was angry at myself, not you. I saw them alive again, and I realized his voice broke. I realized a stranger had done what their own father couldn't, and instead of being grateful, I destroyed it. Ruby wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Do you understand what it took for those girls to trust me, to open up? They'd been silent for 20 months. And in one moment, you taught them that people leave, that love isn't safe. I'll spend the rest of my life making that right, I promise you. She looked down at the drawings again, Lily's flower, Grace's rainbow, Sophie's stick figures holding hands. Her aunt stepped closer, the cat still in her arms. Ruby, you don't owe him anything, I know. Ruby's voice was barely a whisper, but I owe them. She looked back at Daniel. If I come back, and I mean if, things change completely. Anything, name it. You can't keep working 100-hour weeks. You can't keep flying around the world every other week while your daughters grow up without you. If I'm going to help them heal, you have to be part of it. Really part of it. Daniel nodded. I'll change everything, work from home, cut back on travel. I'm not talking about cutting back, Mr. Brooks. Ruby's eyes were steady now, strong. I'm talking about showing up, being there for breakfast, for bedtime. For the hard days when they cry and don't know why. You can't fix this from far away. I understand, do you? She stepped closer. Because I won't come back just to watch you break their hearts again. I won't be the one picking up the pieces while you're in San Francisco closing deals. Daniel felt the weight of what she was asking. His whole life, everything he'd built, everything he'd become, it all went around work, around success, around control, and she was asking him to let it go. I don't know if I know how to do that, he said quietly. I don't know how to just stop. Ruby's face softened just a little. Then you learn, the same way those girls are learning to trust again, one day at a time. Quiet fell between them. Daniel looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who had nothing compared to his money, who'd lost her mother, who was taking care of her brother while working and studying, who'd loved his daughters without asking for anything back. And he realized something. She was stronger than he'd ever been. If you come back, he said slowly, I'll be there, I promise you, whatever it takes. Ruby studied his face for a long moment, looking for something, truth maybe, or honesty. Finally, she nodded. 1 week. Give me 1 week to think about it. Ruby, 1 week, Mr. Brooks, that's all I'm asking. If you really mean what you're saying, you can wait 7 days. She handed him back the box. Keep this, show it to the girls. Tell them I saw it. Tell them, her voice caught. Tell them I miss them too. Then she stepped back inside, and the door closed softly. Daniel stood there in the hallway holding the box of drawings, feeling something he hadn't felt in years, hope and fear. Daniel drove back to Chicago in silence. The box sat on the passenger seat. He kept looking at it. 3 drawings, 3 words of love from children who'd learned to speak again, then learned to go silent because of him. When he pulled into the driveway, the house stood in front of him. 15 bedrooms, all that space, all that emptiness. He sat in the car for a long time before going inside. Carol met him at the door. She didn't ask how it went. She just looked at the box in his hands and nodded. "They're in the playroom," she said quietly. Daniel climbed the stairs slowly. Each step felt heavier than the last. When he reached the playroom door, he stopped. Through the crack, he could see them. Lily, Grace, and Sophie, sitting on the floor in a small circle, holding hands. They weren't playing, weren't drawing, just sitting there, staring at nothing, like they had for 20 months before Ruby came. Daniel pushed the door open gently. All 3 girls looked up. Their faces didn't change. No smiles, no fear, just blank. "Hey girls," his voice came out softer than he meant. They didn't answer. Daniel stepped inside and sat down on the floor across from them, not too close. He didn't want to scare them. "I went to see Miss Ruby today." Lily's eyes moved just a little. Daniel held up the box. "She wanted me to give this back to you. She saw your drawings, the ones you made for her." Sophie's hold on her sister's hands got tighter. "She wanted me to tell you something." Daniel's throat felt tight. "She said she misses you too." Grace's lip shook, but she didn't make a sound. Daniel set the box down between them. "I know I messed up. I know I scared you, and I know," he stopped, his voice breaking, "I know I haven't been the father you needed. Not since your mom died." Silence. The girls just stared at him with those big blue eyes, Sarah's eyes. "I was so scared after we lost her." Daniel kept going, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't know how to be here without her. I didn't know how to help you, so I ran. I worked. I told myself that if I could just make enough money, buy enough things, hire enough people, maybe I could fix what was broken." Lily blinked. A single tear rolled down her cheek. "But I can't fix this with money, I know that now. And I'm so sorry." Sophie's shoulders started shaking. She was crying without sound, the way she'd cried for 20 months. Daniel's own eyes burned. "I don't know if Miss Ruby is coming back, but I do know this. I'm not leaving anymore. I'm staying here with you because you're more important than any deal, any building, any amount of money in the world." He reached out slowly, his hand open, waiting. For a long moment nothing happened. Then Lily let go of her sister's hands. She moved forward slowly, carefully, like she wasn't sure if it was safe, and she took her father's hand. Daniel's chest broke open. He pulled her close, and she buried her face in his shoulder, still silent, but holding on. Then Grace came, then Sophie. All 3 of them pressed against him, crying without sound, their small bodies shaking. Daniel wrapped his arms around them and held on, like he should have been doing all along. "I'm here," he whispered. "I'm here now, I promise." For the first time in 20 months, Daniel Brooks stayed. He didn't check his phone, didn't think about work, didn't run. He just held his daughters and let himself feel everything he'd been hiding from. The sadness, the guilt, the deep, hurting love for these 3 little souls who needed so much more than he'd given them. And in that moment, something changed. Daniel kept his promise. He cancelled his trip to London, pushed back meetings, told his assistant to clear his schedule for the next 3 weeks. For the first time in 20 months, he was home. He made breakfast, sat with the girls while they ate. They picked at their food without talking, but they didn't leave. That felt like moving forward. He read to them that night, sat on the floor of their bedroom with a picture book about butterflies, Sarah's favorite. The girls sat on their beds, watching him, not smiling, not speaking, but listening. When he finished, he kissed each of them good night. "I love you," he whispered. "I love you so much." They didn't say it back, but Lily squeezed his hand just once. 4 days went like that. Daniel stayed. He tried. He showed up for every meal, played with them in the backyard, sat with them during the quiet hours. But something was missing. The girls were there with their bodies, but they weren't really there. They moved through the house like shadows, silent, careful, like they were waiting for something or someone. On the 5th day, Daniel found Sophie sitting by the laundry room door. She was holding something, a small piece of cloth, one of the pink dresses she'd been wearing the day he'd exploded, the day Ruby left. Sophie pressed it to her face. Her shoulders shook. Daniel's heart broke. He sat beside her. "Sophie, baby," she didn't look at him, just kept holding that dress, crying without sound. "Do you want Miss Ruby to come back?" Sophie nodded. Daniel felt his chest get tight. "I'm trying, sweetheart. I'm trying to bring her back." Sophie finally looked up at him. Her blue eyes were red, empty, and Daniel saw it. She didn't believe him. That night Daniel couldn't sleep. He stood in the hallway outside the girl's room, listening. At first there was nothing, just quiet. Then he heard it, whispers. His heart stopped. He moved closer, putting his ear to the door. Do you think she's coming back? Lily's voice, so small. I don't know. Grace. Daddy said he's trying. Sophie, quiet. But he said that before. Lily again. He said he'd be home more. He said lots of things. Daniel's hand held the door frame tight. Maybe she doesn't want to come back. Grace's voice broke. Maybe we made her too sad. We didn't make her sad. Sophie, Daddy did. The words hit like a punch. I miss her. Lily started crying. I miss her so much. Me too, me too. Daniel stood there frozen, listening to his daughters cry for someone else, someone who'd loved them better than he had, someone they trusted more. He sat down on the floor, his head in his hands. They were talking, but not to him. They'd learned to trust Ruby enough to open up, and he destroyed it so badly that even now, even when he was here trying, being there, they still didn't believe in him, and maybe they were right not to. He pulled out his phone, stared at the screen. He could call anyone, fix any problem, but this couldn't be bought, couldn't be talked through, couldn't be controlled. He'd spent his whole life building companies, winning deals, being 10 steps ahead, but he'd lost the only thing that mattered, not because he didn't have enough money, because he didn't have enough love, enough time, enough being there. Daniel sat there in that dark hallway, listening to his daughters cry for someone else, and finally, he understood. He couldn't fix this alone. He needed Ruby, not because she was helpful, not because she was good at her job, because his daughters needed her. And maybe, just maybe, he did too. He stood up slowly, wiped his face, and made a choice. Tomorrow he'd go back to New Jersey, and this time he wouldn't leave until she said yes. Daniel showed up at Ruby's aunt's apartment the next morning. It wasn't 7 days. It had only been 5, but he couldn't wait anymore. He knocked, waited, his heart pounding. Ruby's aunt opened the door. She looked surprised, then annoyed. She said, "A week, I know, but I need to see her, please." The woman studied him for a long moment. Then she called over her shoulder, "Ruby, he's here again." Footsteps. Then Ruby appeared, arms crossed. She looked tired, like she hadn't been sleeping either. "It hasn't been a week, Mr. Brooks. I know, I'm sorry." But his voice broke. "I heard them last night." Ruby's face changed. "Heard who?" "My daughters. They were talking in their room, to each other." Daniel's hands shook. "They're speaking again, but not to me. They don't trust me, and I don't blame them." Ruby's arms loosened a little. "They were crying for you." Daniel kept going, his voice rough, "Asking if you were coming back, saying they missed you, and I stood outside their door listening, and I realized something." He stopped, trying to find the words. "I can't do this. I can't fix them. I can't even reach them, because they don't believe me anymore. And the worst part is they're right not to." Ruby said nothing, just watched him. "I thought I could show up and everything would be okay, that being there would be enough. But it's not, because I spent 20 months teaching them that I don't stay, that I leave. That work is more important than they are." His voice broke. "And now they're waiting for me to leave again." A tear fell down his cheek. He didn't wipe it away. "I need you, Ruby, not because I'm paying you, not because you're good at what you do, because my daughters need you." And he stopped. "I need to learn from you. I need you to show me how to be the father they need, because I have no idea what I'm doing." Ruby's eyes got wet. "Please," Daniel whispered, "I'm not asking as your boss. I'm asking as a man who's lost everything that matters and doesn't know how to get it back." Quiet stretched between them. Then Ruby spoke, her voice soft. "What happened to the meeting in London? I cancelled it. And the San Francisco deal, pushed it back. For how long? As long as it takes." Daniel looked her in the eyes. "I don't care if I lose every deal, every building, every dollar. None of it matters if I lose them." Ruby studied his face, looking for something: truth, honesty, change. Finally she breathed out slowly. "If I come back, you have to understand something. This isn't about fixing them. It's about loving them, showing up every single day, even when it's hard, even when they push you away, even when you feel like you're failing. I know, and you can't do this halfway. You can't show up for a few weeks and then go back to your old life when things get easy. I won't, I promise." Ruby looked down at her hands, then back at him. "I'll come back, but not today." Daniel's heart sank. "Give me 2 more days," she said gently. "I need to finish some things here, and you need to tell the girls I'm coming. They need to hear it from you. They need to know you went after me, that you fought for this." Daniel nodded, relief flooding through him. Thank you, Ruby." She stepped closer. Her voice was stronger now. "Don't thank me yet, Mr. Brooks. The hard part is just beginning. Daniel drove home with something he hadn't felt in months, not just hope, purpose. He found the girls in the playroom, still sitting together, still quiet. He sat down in front of them. "I have something to tell you." 3 pairs of blue eyes looked up. "I went to see Miss Ruby today, and she's coming back." Lily's eyes got big. Grace sat up straighter. Sophie's lips opened. "In 2 days she'll be here, and this time," Daniel's voice thick with feeling, "this time I'm going to make sure she stays, because I'm staying too." For the first time in days, he saw something move in their faces, not quite belief, but maybe hope. 2 days felt like forever. Daniel kept his word. He stayed home, made breakfast, read stories, sat with the girls even when they didn't talk back, but he could see it in their eyes. They were waiting, holding their breath, scared to hope. On the morning of the second day, Daniel woke up early. He made pancakes the way Sarah used to. He set the table, called the girls down for breakfast. They came slowly, still in their pajamas, still holding hands. "Eat up," he said gently. "We have a special day today." Lily looked at him. "Is Miss Ruby coming?" Daniel's chest got tight. It was the first time she'd spoken to him in weeks. "Yes, baby, she's coming home." Ruby arrived at noon. Carol opened the door. The 2 women hugged like old friends. "They've been waiting by the window all morning," Carol whispered. Ruby nodded, her eyes already wet. She walked through the hallway, her heart pounding. She could hear Daniel's voice coming from the living room. Calm, steady, reading to them. She stopped at the doorway. The girls were sitting on the couch, one on each side of Daniel. He had a book open. They weren't looking at the pages. They were staring at the doorway, waiting. Ruby stepped into view. "Hey, sweet girls." Time stopped. Lily's eyes went wide. "Miss Ruby, Miss Ruby." Grace's voice broke with feeling. Sophie jumped off the couch. "You came back." All 3 of them ran. They crashed into Ruby so hard she almost fell backward, but she caught them, wrapped her arms around all 3, and held on tight. They were crying, talking over each other, words falling out like a wall had broken. "We thought you were gone forever. We missed you so much. Daddy said you were coming, but we were scared you wouldn't." Ruby dropped to her knees, pulling them closer. "I'm here, Barbies, I'm here. I missed you every single day." "Are you staying?" Lily pulled back, her face wet with tears. "You're not leaving again." Ruby looked up. Her eyes met Daniel's across the room. He was still sitting on the couch, tears running down his face. He nodded once. Ruby looked back at the girls. "I'm staying, I promise." Sophie buried her face in Ruby's shoulder. "We love you. I love you too, sweetheart, so much." Daniel watched from across the room. He didn't move, didn't interrupt, just watched his daughters come back to life in someone else's arms. And for the first time, he wasn't jealous. He was grateful, because this was love, real love, the kind that didn't need credit, didn't need to be noticed, just showed up and stayed. After a long moment, Ruby looked over at him. "Mr. Brooks." Daniel stood, walked over slowly. Ruby gently touched the girls. "Your daddy fought very hard to bring me back. He went looking for me. He didn't give up." Lily looked up at Daniel. "Really?" Grace looked at him. "You did." Daniel sat down beside them. "I did because I love you, and I finally understand. You need people who show up, not people who send money or buy things, people who stay." Grace reached out, took his hand, then Lily took his other hand. Sophie wrapped her small arms around his neck. And Daniel Brooks, the man who'd built an empire, who'd closed billion-dollar deals, who'd conquered Chicago, broke down completely. He held his daughters and cried like he hadn't cried since Sarah died. Ruby put her hand on his shoulder, a gentle touch, a quiet promise. "We'll get through this together." That evening the house felt different, not empty anymore, not silent. The girls were in the kitchen with Ruby, helping her make dinner, laughing, talking, singing while they stirred. Daniel stood in the doorway watching, and for the first time in 2 years he felt something he thought was gone forever: peace. 7 months later, the house didn't feel empty anymore. Daniel changed his whole life. He worked from home 4 days a week. No more 18-hour days, no more trips during school weeks. He knew the girls' teachers now, their friends' names, the songs they made up, the games they played. He was there for breakfast every morning, dinner every night, bedtime stories, bad dreams, good days and hard ones. He showed up. And slowly, so slowly, his daughters began to trust him again. Ruby wasn't just the housekeeper anymore. She was family. The girls called her Aunt Ruby. She ate dinner with them, celebrated birthdays, prayed with them before bed. And Daniel, he learned from her how to listen without trying to fix everything, how to be there without controlling, how to love without rules. One Saturday evening, as the sun went down over Lake Michigan, Daniel found them all in the garden. Ruby and the girls were on their knees in the dirt, planting something, their hands covered in soil, laughter floating through the warm air. Daniel walked over. "What are we planting?" Sophie looked up, face bright. "Sunflowers, Daddy, sunflowers." Lily nodded. Aunt Ruby said Mommy loved them. Daniel sat beside them, his throat tight. She did. She loved them very much. Grace carefully pushed seeds into the earth. "Why did she love them, Daddy?" Daniel looked at Ruby. She smiled gently, encouraging him. He turned back to his daughters. "Your mom used to say that sunflowers always turn toward the light. No matter how dark it gets, they keep reaching for the sun. She said that's how we're supposed to live, always turning toward the light, like us," Lily said softly. Daniel's eyes burned. "Yeah, baby, like us." Sophie pointed at the sky. "Daddy, look." A yellow butterfly had landed on one of the seed packets. The girls went quiet, watching it, its wings opening and closing slowly in the fading light. "That's Mommy," Sophie whispered. "Isn't it?" Ruby's voice was gentle. "Yes, sweet girl, that's her watching over you. So proud of how strong you've become." The butterfly lifted into the air, circled once, then flew toward the sunset. Lily took Daniel's hand. "Do you think she knows we're okay now?" Daniel pulled her close, pulled all three of them close, his voice thick with feeling. "I think she knows. I think she's been watching this whole time, waiting for us to find our way back." Grace looked up at him. "Are you staying, Daddy? Really staying?" "I'm staying, baby, I promise. I'm not going anywhere, ever, ever." Sophie leaned her head against his chest. "I'm glad Miss Ruby came back." "Me too, sweetheart, me too." Daniel looked at Ruby over the girls' heads. She was wiping tears from her eyes. "Thank you," he said without speaking. She shook her head gently. "No, thank God." And Daniel understood. This wasn't about him or Ruby or even the girls. It was about Grace, the kind that shows up when you're broken, the kind that reaches into silence and pulls out songs, the kind that doesn't give up even when you've given up on yourself. The sun went behind the horizon, the garden filled with golden light, and for the first time since Sarah died, Daniel Brooks felt whole. Not because everything was perfect, but because he was finally where he was supposed to be, there, grateful, home. Lily looked up at the darkening sky. "The sunflowers will grow, right, Daddy?" Daniel kissed the top of her head. "Yes, baby, they'll grow, and when they do, they'll turn toward the light, just like your mom said, just like us." Grace repeated, "Just like us," Daniel whispered. And in that moment, surrounded by his daughters, standing beside the woman who'd saved them all, Daniel finally understood what his wife had been trying to teach him all along. True wealth isn't what you build, it's who you become. And the most valuable thing in this life isn't success or money or power, it's love that stays, even in the silence, even in the dark, love that stays. 3 months after that evening in the garden, something happened that changed everything again. Daniel was in his office working when Carol knocked on the door. Her face looked strange, worried, but also something else. "Mr. Brooks, there's someone here to see you." "Who is it?" "A woman. She says her name is Jennifer Hart. She says she's Ruby's mother." Daniel's heart stopped. Ruby's mother? But Ruby said her mother died 3 years ago. "That's what she told me too." Carol's voice was quiet. "But this woman has pictures, documents. She says Ruby lied." Daniel stood up fast, his chair falling backward. "Where is she?" "Downstairs in the front room." "And Ruby?" "She's with the girls in the playroom. She doesn't know yet." Daniel ran down the stairs, his mind racing. When he reached the front room, he saw her, a woman in her early 50s, tired eyes, worn clothes. She looked up when he entered. "Mr. Brooks?" "Yes, who are you?" "My name is Jennifer Hart. I'm Ruby's mother." Daniel's hands clenched. "Ruby told me her mother died." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "I know what she told you, and I understand why. But I'm not dead, I'm here, and I need to talk to my daughter." "Why would Ruby lie about something like that?" The woman looked down at her hands. "Because I hurt her. I was sick for a long time, not body sick, mind sick. Depression, addiction, I did things, said things. Ruby tried to help me, tried to save me, but I kept falling, kept choosing the drugs over her brother, over everything." Her voice broke. "So one day Ruby told me I was dead to her, that if I couldn't get clean and stay clean, I needed to stay away. And I did. For 3 years, I stayed away." Daniel stared at her. "Why are you here now?" "Because I got clean, 18 months sober. I have a job, a place to live. And I want my daughter back. I want to tell her I'm sorry, that she was right, that I should have fought harder." She wiped her eyes. "I know I don't deserve it, but I need to try." Daniel didn't know what to say. This woman, this stranger, coming here, turning everything upside down again. You can't just show up and expect Ruby to forgive you. I know, but I have to try. Please, just let me see her. Let me tell her I'm sorry. Before Daniel could answer, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned. Ruby stood in the doorway. Her face had gone completely white. Mom, the word came out like a ghost. Jennifer stood up, tears streaming down her face. Ruby, baby. Ruby's hands started shaking. You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be. I know what you said. But I couldn't stay away anymore. I needed to see you. Ruby's voice came out hard. Cold. You need to leave right now. Ruby, please, just listen. No. Ruby stepped forward, her whole body shaking. You don't get to do this. You don't get to show up after 3 years and act like everything's okay. I'm not acting like everything's okay. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I'm different now. I'm clean. I'm Ruby. Cut her off. I don't care. The words hung in the air, sharp, final. Jennifer's face crumpled. Ruby, I'm your mother. You stopped being my mother the day you chose drugs over me. The day you chose getting high over taking care of your own son. The day you stole money from me to buy pills. Ruby's voice was shaking now. You were dead to me then, and you're still dead to me now. Please leave. Jennifer stood there, tears falling, looking at her daughter like she was watching her whole world end. Ruby, go. Ruby's voice broke. Just go. Daniel stepped forward. Mrs. Hart, I think it's best if you leave now. Jennifer looked at him, then back at Ruby. One more time, her voice barely a whisper. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Ruby turned away, her back to her mother, her shoulders shaking. Jennifer walked toward the door slowly. When she reached it, she stopped, looked back. If you ever want to talk, I'm staying at the motel on Route 20, room 14. I'll be there for 1 week. Then she was gone. The door closed softly behind her. Ruby stood frozen in the middle of the room, not moving, not speaking. Daniel walked over to her. Ruby, don't. Her voice came out sharp. Please don't say anything right now. But Daniel saw it. The way her hands were shaking. The way her breathing was fast and shallow. The way she was holding herself together by a thread. You don't have to talk to her if you don't want to. Ruby finally turned to look at him. Her eyes were red, angry, hurt. You don't understand. She left us. She left me and my brother when we needed her most. And now she shows up acting like saying sorry fixes everything. I know, and if you want her gone, I'll make sure she stays gone. Ruby wiped her eyes roughly. I want her gone. I want her out of my life. Okay, Ruby nodded. Then she walked past him, out of the room, up the stairs. Daniel heard a door close. Hard. Carol appeared in the doorway. She'd been listening. That poor girl. Carol shook her head. She's been carrying that pain for so long. What do I do? Daniel asked. Nothing. Carol said gently. You just be there. That's all she needs right now. That night Ruby didn't come down for dinner. Daniel made food for the girls. They asked where Aunt Ruby was. She's not feeling well. Daniel said softly, she's resting. Is she sad? Sophie asked. Her big eyes worried. Maybe a little, Daniel admitted, but she'll be okay. After the girls went to bed, Daniel stood outside Ruby's door. He could hear her crying inside. Soft, quiet, like she didn't want anyone to hear. He knocked gently. Ruby, it's me. Can I come in? A long pause, then, okay. He opened the door slowly. Ruby was sitting on the bed, her face red and blotchy from crying, tissues all around her. Daniel sat in the chair by the window, not too close, just there. You don't have to talk, he said quietly. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. I'm not okay. Ruby's voice was raw. I spent 3 years trying to forget her, trying to move on, and she just shows up like it's nothing. Daniel nodded. I can't imagine how hard that is. She was supposed to be my mom. Ruby's voice broke again. She was supposed to take care of us. But instead I had to be the mom. I had to take care of my brother. I had to work. I had to study. I had to do everything while she was out there destroying herself. And now she wants forgiveness. Now she wants me back. Daniel listened, just listened. Do you know what the worst part is? Ruby looked up at him. The worst part is that a tiny piece of me wants to believe her, wants to think she's really changed. And I hate myself for that. Why do you hate yourself for that? Because it makes me weak. It makes me the same stupid girl who believed her 100 times before, who gave her chance after chance, who watched her throw it all away. You're not weak, Ruby. Daniel's voice was firm. You're human, and wanting your mother to be better doesn't make you stupid. It makes you hopeful. Hope is what got me hurt. Then maybe that's okay. Ruby looked at him confused. Daniel leaned forward. I spent 20 months running from pain, from grief, from anything that made me feel, and you know what happened? I lost my daughters. I lost myself. Sometimes the pain is worth it if it means you're still alive enough to feel something. Ruby was quiet for a long moment. What if I go see her and she breaks my heart again? Then you'll survive it, just like you've survived everything else. But what if you don't go and she really has changed? What if she's really trying, and you never give her the chance to show you? Ruby wiped her eyes. I don't know if I can. You don't have to decide tonight. Sleep on it. And whatever you choose, I'll support you. Ruby nodded slowly. Thank you. Daniel stood to leave. Then Ruby spoke again. Mr. Brooks. Daniel, he corrected gently. Daniel, she tried the name out, her voice soft. Thank you for not judging me, for not thinking less of me because of her, because of what she did. Daniel walked back, sat on the edge of the bed. Ruby, nothing your mother did changes who you are. You're one of the strongest, most loving people I've ever met, and my daughters are proof of that. Ruby's eyes filled with tears again, but these were different, softer. I don't feel strong right now. Then let me be strong for you, the way you were strong for my girls, for me. Ruby broke down, and for the first time Daniel held her while she cried, not as her employer, as her friend. 3 days passed. Ruby didn't talk about her mother, didn't mention her, just went through the days taking care of the girls, cooking, cleaning, smiling when they needed her to smile, but Daniel could see it. The weight she was carrying, the war happening inside her. On the 4th day, Daniel found her in the kitchen late at night. She was sitting at the table, staring at a piece of paper. When he got closer, he saw what it was, an old photo. Ruby and a woman who looked just like her, younger, healthier, smiling. Is that her? Daniel asked gently. Ruby nodded. This was before everything fell apart. She was so different then. She used to make me breakfast, pack my lunch, come to every school event. She was a good mom once. What happened? Life, I guess. Ruby's voice was quiet. My dad left when I was 10. She fell apart, started drinking, then pills, then worse things. I tried to help her, tried so hard, but nothing worked. Daniel sat down beside her. Do you want to see her? I don't know. Ruby put the photo down. Part of me does. Part of me wants to believe people can change, that she's really clean, really trying, and the other part is terrified, because if I let her in and she breaks my heart again, I don't know if I'll survive it. Daniel reached over, took her hand. Whatever you decide, you won't be alone. I'll be right there with you. Ruby looked at him. Really, really? She took a deep breath. Okay, I'll go see her tomorrow, but I want you to come with me. Daniel squeezed her hand. I'll be there. The next morning, Daniel drove Ruby to the motel on Route 20. The whole drive she was quiet, her hands folded in her lap, her face turned toward the window. When they pulled into the parking lot, Ruby didn't move. Daniel turned off the car, waited. Do you think she's really changed? Ruby's voice was small. I don't know, but there's only one way to find out. Ruby nodded. Okay, let's go. They walked to room 14. Ruby's hand shook as she knocked. The door opened almost immediately, like Jennifer had been waiting by it. Ruby, Jennifer's face lit up, then fell when she saw Daniel. This is my friend, Ruby said, her voice stronger than she felt. He's here for support. Jennifer nodded. Of course, come in, please. The room was small, clean. A Bible sat on the nightstand, a notebook filled with writing, pictures taped to the mirror. Ruby recognized some of them. Her and her brother as kids, her graduation, family photos from before. You kept these? Ruby's voice cracked. I kept everything, Jennifer said softly. Every picture, every memory, because even when I was at my worst, you were always in my heart. Ruby turned away. Don't do that. Don't act like you loved me while you were destroying yourself. I did love you. I still do. Love isn't enough. Ruby's voice was hard. Love didn't stop you from choosing drugs. Love didn't stop you from stealing from me. Love didn't stop you from disappearing for days while I took care of your son. You're right, Jennifer's voice broke. You're absolutely right. Love wasn't enough because I was sick, and I didn't know how to fight it, but I'm fighting now. I go to meetings every day. I have a sponsor, I'm working, I'm trying to be the person you deserved all along. Ruby turned back to her. Why now? Why after 3 years? Because it took me that long to get clean and stay clean. Jennifer wiped her eyes. I tried before so many times, but I kept falling. And I knew if I came back before I was really ready, I'd just hurt you again. How do I know you won't hurt me now? You don't. Jennifer said honestly. I can't promise I'll never mess up. I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I can promise I'm trying. Every single day I'm trying. And I want you in my life, not because I deserve it, but because you're my daughter and I love you. Ruby stood there, tears streaming down her face. I was so angry at you. I still am. I don't know if I can forgive you. I'm not asking you to forgive me, not yet. Jennifer stepped closer. I'm just asking for a chance to show you I've changed, to be in your life again, even if it's just small, even if it's just phone calls once a week. I'll take anything. Ruby looked at Daniel. He nodded, encouraging. She looked back at her mother. 1 month, if you stay clean for 1 month, if you keep going to meetings, if you prove you're serious, then we can talk about more. Jennifer's face broke into a smile, tears falling. 1 month. I can do that, I will do that. Thank you baby, don't call me that yet. Ruby's voice was firm. You have to earn that back. Jennifer nodded. I understand. Ruby turned to leave, then stopped. Mom, Jennifer looked up, hope in her eyes. I'm glad you're alive. And then she walked out. Daniel followed. In the car, Ruby cried, but this time it was different, not just sadness, relief too, and maybe, just maybe, a tiny bit of hope. 1 month later, Jennifer was still clean. She called Ruby every week, went to her meetings, sent pictures of her progress, and slowly, very slowly, Ruby started to let her back in. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy, but it was real, and that's all that mattered. 6 months after that day at the motel, something beautiful happened. It was Lily's 5th birthday. The girls wanted a party, a big one, with all their friends from school. Daniel and Ruby spent days planning it. Balloons, cake, games, everything perfect. The day of the party, the house was full of children, laughter, music, joy. Daniel stood in the kitchen watching Ruby with the girls. She was helping them play a game, her face bright with happiness. Carol walked up beside him. She's good for them. Carol said, for all of you, I know. Daniel said softly, I don't know what we'd do without her. Then don't let her go. Daniel looked at Carol. What do you mean? Carol smiled. I see the way you look at her, the way she looks at you. Don't pretend you don't feel it. Daniel's heart started beating faster. I can't. She works for me. It wouldn't be right. She doesn't work for you anymore. She's family. Carol patted his arm. And love doesn't follow rules, Mr. Brooks. It just happens. Then she walked away. Daniel stood there, his mind racing. Did he love Ruby? He thought about it, really thought about it. The way his heart felt lighter when she was around. The way he looked forward to seeing her every morning. The way she made him want to be better, not just for his daughters, for himself. The way she understood him, saw him, not his money, not his success, just him. Yes, he loved her. The thought terrified him and filled him with hope at the same time. That evening after the party, after all the guests had gone home, after the girls were in bed, Daniel found Ruby in the garden. She was sitting on the bench by the sunflowers. They'd grown tall, just like they'd planted, turning toward the last light of the day. Mind if I sit? Daniel asked. Ruby smiled. It's your garden, it's our garden. Daniel corrected as he sat down. Ruby looked at him, something in his voice making her heart beat faster. Ruby. Daniel turned to face her. I need to tell you something. Okay, Ruby's voice was quiet. These past months, having you here, watching you with the girls, getting to know you, it's changed everything for me. You saved my daughters, you saved me, and somewhere along the way, he stopped, took a breath. Somewhere along the way I fell in love with you. Ruby's eyes went wide. Daniel, I know it's complicated. I know there's a million reasons why this might be a bad idea, but I can't keep pretending I don't feel this, that you're just someone who works here. You're so much more than that. Ruby's eyes filled with tears. I thought I was crazy, thought I was imagining it. You're not imagining anything. Daniel reached for her hand. I love you, Ruby Martinez, and if you don't feel the same way, that's okay. Nothing has to change. You'll always have a place here with us. But if there's any chance at all that you might feel something too, I needed you to know. Ruby squeezed his hand. Daniel, I've been in love with you for months, since that day you came to New Jersey. Since you fought for your daughters, since you fought for me. Daniel's heart soared. Really, really. But I was scared of what it meant. Scared of messing up what we have, scared of losing the girls if things went wrong. You won't lose them. Daniel pulled her closer. And you won't lose me. I'm not going anywhere. Are you sure? Ruby searched his eyes. Because this changes everything. I've never been more sure of anything. And then he kissed her, soft, gentle, full of promise. When they pulled apart, Ruby was crying, happy tears this time. The girls are going to lose their minds. She laughed. Let them. Daniel smiled. Let everyone know I don't care. I just want you, all of you, for as long as you'll have me. Forever sounds good. Ruby whispered. Forever sounds perfect. 1 year later, on a beautiful summer day, Daniel and Ruby got married in that same garden, under the sunflowers, with Lily, Grace, and Sophie as flower girls. Jennifer was there too, 18 months sober, crying tears of joy. Carol stood beside her. The girls sang You Are My Sunshine, while Daniel and Ruby exchanged vows. And when the pastor said you may kiss the bride, the girls cheered so loud everyone laughed. That night, after the reception, after the guests had left, Daniel found his daughters and Ruby on the couch, all 4 of them cuddled together, reading a book. He stood in the doorway watching, his heart so full it hurt. Ruby looked up, saw him, smiled. Come here. She patted the spot next to her. Daniel walked over, sat down. Sophie climbed into his lap. Lily leaned against his shoulder. Grace took his hand. And Ruby, his wife now, rested her head on his chest. "Are you happy, Daddy?" Sophie asked. "Happier than I've ever been." Daniel kissed the top of her head. "Because I have everything I need right here." "Me too." Lily said. "Me too." Grace agreed. "Me too." Sophie giggled. Ruby looked up at Daniel, their eyes meeting. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For not giving up, for fighting for us, for loving us, for showing me what a real family looks like." Daniel kissed her forehead. "Thank you for saving us, for teaching me how to be present, how to love without fear, how to turn toward the light even when everything feels dark." They sat there together, the five of them, a family built from broken pieces, held together by love, by grace, by forgiveness, by second chances. Outside the window, a yellow butterfly landed on the sunflowers, watching over them, and somewhere, somehow, Sarah was smiling, because her Barbies were okay, more than okay. They were loved, they were whole, they were home. And that's all she'd ever wanted. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? Matthew 16:26. But what joy comes to the man who loses everything and finds his soul again, who learns that love is the only wealth that matters, who discovers that the greatest treasures aren't built with money, but with presence, with patience, with showing up every single day. Daniel Brooks had been a billionaire who had everything. Then he lost it all, not his money, his family, his heart, his purpose, and in losing everything he found what he'd been searching for all along. Home, not a house with 15 bedrooms, not a building worth millions, but a place, a feeling, a family, people who loved him not for what he could give them, but for who he was. And Ruby, sweet, strong, beautiful Ruby. She'd been broken too, abandoned, hurt, left to pick up pieces that weren't hers to carry, but she didn't let it make her bitter, she let it make her kind. She turned her pain into purpose, her grief into grace, and in doing so she saved a family that was drowning. Sometimes the people who save us aren't the ones we expect. Sometimes they come quietly, humbly, without fanfare. They show up in our kitchens singing with our children. They love us when we're unlovable. They stay when everyone else leaves. They teach us that healing doesn't happen overnight, that forgiveness is a journey, that love is a choice we make every single day. And sometimes, just sometimes, God puts people in our lives at exactly the right moment, when we're ready to receive them, when we're ready to change, when we're ready to let go of control and surrender to something bigger than ourselves. Daniel learned that the hard way, but he learned it, and that made all the difference. So if you're broken tonight, if you've lost your way, if you feel like you've messed up too badly to ever fix it, remember this story, remember that it's never too late. Never too late to change, to fight, to love, to come home. Because somewhere, someone is waiting for you, someone who sees your broken pieces and doesn't run away, someone who knows that the cracks are where the light gets in, someone who will sit with you in the dark and teach you how to turn toward the sun again. You just have to be brave enough to let them, to open the door when they knock, to say yes when everything in you wants to say no, to trust that love is worth the risk, that forgiveness is worth the pain, that healing is worth the wait. And when you do, when you finally let go and let love in, you'll discover what Daniel discovered, that the greatest wealth isn't what you build, it's who you become, that the most valuable thing in this life isn't success or money or power, it's love that stays, even in the silence, even in the dark, even when it's hard, love that stays. And that, my friend, is worth more than all the billions in the world. Dear friends, what you just saw is only a piece of the bigger story. In the next video, a twist no one saw coming will be revealed. Make sure you're here for it. I'd love to hear what you would have done in this situation. Drop your thoughts below. I read every single comment. Thanks so much for watching. Show some love by liking, subscribing, and sharing this with someone who needs to see it.